So
I look so weird scratching. It's just I think you can like probably see the darkening. I have antibiotic ointment under this, so you can so it hopefully heals, because it has to be healed by Sunday on the 12th, because that's when the big surprise is happening. I told y'all a couple of videos ago that I was in Jackson with my grandma prepping and shopping for this big thing that we were going to do in Houston, but then it got canceled last time because I was feeling so bad, and this time we've rescheduled it, and hopefully I'm going to be able to do it. But I really want this giant spot to be gone, so I'm going to go out in public looking like this and scratching my head all weird like having a unicorn horn, hopefully to not have anything by Sunday. All right, we were talking about Darren.
what were we talking about?
The serving devotional and the things that you were convicted of, and what you're going to be working on as far as sacrificially serving others and everything. You
there were
actually
a couple,
not remember?
No, I'm pulling them together. I remember there was two.
Do you want your
journal?
journal?
No, I got it. The first one. So I want before this whole before this whole thing happened, I was serving on the AV team. So I was
audio visual for those of y'all who don't know.
So
I feel very fancy saying that.
I was in the booth behind with the projector and the the TV screens and the sound system and all that. I never did the sound system. All I did was slap together the slides that would be shown on the screen, and just hit the button, hit the spacebar button a bunch to scroll through them, like a big PowerPoint, big souped up PowerPoint is all it was. So I wanted to get back, or whenever this whole thing is over, I want to get back to that. And I also wanted to approach Brian, our pastor, about what are some other ways that I could plug in. How could I do something? Because in this season, I serve, but I serve begrudgingly. And it becomes usually it starts off as this, let's do it. I'm good. I'm all in it for the Lord. And it becomes a thing where I have to convince myself every morning after doing it for so long, I gotta literally drag my carcass to church, and it's annoying.
That's not how it should be.
It's not how it should be. It's not joyful. It's and I can sit there and I can pump myself up as much as I can, but it still doesn't change the fact that it was still hard for me to roll out of bed to get there.
The heart's in the wrong place.
Yeah. And so over time, my service becomes that. And we talked about we talked a little bit last night about getting proper breaking and stuff, but there's a difference between getting a proper break and and coming back to it and stuff like that. So there's got to be a way for me to plug in and to actually for me to not feel like I'm pulling myself along all the time. So, and one of the things that she suggested was basically just hooking up with some of the guys from church and just hey, I'm meeting up at this coffee shop. Anybody want to come join me? We're just reading some scripture, whatever. Just sit, talk about life, and just fellowship. And maybe that's something that I could do, or
and just be there for each other. Not in a Darren's gonna lead a Bible study, but just hey, I'm reading through 1 John chapter 3. I hope that has a chapter 3. Y'all, please don't make fun of me if 1 John doesn't have a chapter 3. I can't remember.
I think it only has 5.
I was going to say, I can't remember if that's one of the short ones or not.
It is.
But, not in a, leadership teacher type way, but literally just I'm a Christian, you're a Christian, we're all supposed to dig into the Bible, so let's dig into the Bible together and see what we find out, see what we learn together.
And this is a suggestion. This is not a thing that, that probably will happen, but I feel like it
or at least soon.
Yeah, I feel like it probably will eventually. I just, but nevertheless, it is one of the issues for me is this, the service aspect. It starts off joyful and then becomes begrudging, begrudgingly doing it. I'm doing it begrudgingly.
I don't know.
Anyway, so that seems to be that is my big one of my big issues, and it's not the way it should be. So
yeah.
we have an amazing Savior who has done so much for us, has done everything for us.
Literally laid down his life, came to be served, or came to serve, not to be served. And he's literally the you know, like the Son of God. Like,
Yeah.
if anybody has the authority and, you know, the reasoning to be like, hey, wash my feet, bring me that, you know, do these things for me, it's going to be Jesus.
But he didn't. He did all this stuff for us, and not that I'm trying to, you know, what do they call it? Like, earn my way into heaven by works, but I should be doing this out of gratitude. I should be doing this out of, you know, like, this is what Jesus did for me. I'm just thankful for him. Let me do this stuff for his people. And that's the way it should be. And
so it turns into a heart issue. Like,
yeah, and it sucks because I want to do that, and I want to do it, but, you know, crazy human nature gets in the way, and, you know,
and
not to use that as an excuse, but...
Well, I think it's just proof that, like, sanctification is an ongoing process. Mm-hmm. Like, we are humans. Our hearts are never going to be just, you know, amazing and Christ-like, because we are sinners, and we are going to sin every single day, and we have those tendencies because we live in a fallen world. And so, you know, of course we're going to struggle with that kind of stuff. And I think it's the ability to be able to realize, yes, I'm struggling with this, but I want to do better, and I'm going to try to do better. And, you know, having it come from a place of your heart, not just I want my actions to be better or I want my head to be better, but why is it not getting better? Like, why does this turn into something that I'm doing, you know, begrudgingly? That is a hard word to say. We've both, like, stumbled on that.
Because of them,
and
I feel like you got a big mouthful of cotton when you say
yeah.
Because of me.
But that's what the entire devotional series of Growing in Grace is. And it's really, really helped us, because literally everything comes back to our heart and learning about God and who he is and what he's done for us. And then in turn, when you realize how amazing God is and everything that he's done for us, we start to love him more. And so we want to, you know, serve other people out of this love in our hearts that was first given to us. And all of the spiritual disciplines kind of go on this repeat cycle of Bible intake. All right, so you read the Bible in order to learn more about God and fall in love with him more, and it deepens your relationship. And then you want to read more Bible so you can learn more about God, because your relationship was deepened and you love him more. But then you love God more because you read the Bible. You see what I'm saying? And, like, all of these spiritual disciplines just roll into one big snowball. And the process of making the snowball is the sanctification. It's realizing that, like, every step along the way, you fall more and more in love with God, and you start to see his grace and his forgiveness, his mercies, just everything that he does for you, and how perfect he is. And the fact that, like, he wants us, like, that's crazy. And so it's just, you know, doing these things out of a place in our hearts of a love for God, and therefore a love of other people. And so, yeah, the devotional has been really, really challenging, really convicting in the best way for both of us. And one of the things that I really love about the actual devotional is that it gives practical ways to actually follow through on the knowledge that you just learned. And so it doesn't just, like, all right, here's what the definition of prayer should be, and here's what not to do. Like, it gives you these practical ways to get better.
My favorite was the one that was like, here's a week schedule, like, of every 30-minute block of every day of the week. Fill it in of when you're doing things and what you're doing, and then find where you can carve out time, and, like, things that, like, I don't need to do that. You know, I don't need to watch TV for 30 minutes. I could read my Bible here. You know, I could do Bible intake here. I could do fellowship here. I could do, you know, and, like, plug in each of the disciplines. And that's, you know, it's really, really been eye-opening. Just, like, how much of our time do we spend wasting away in front of our screens or in front of our TV or
Which,
whatever.
Speaking of, that actually brings me to a very, very good point that I've been meaning to tell y'all.
Y'all just got to put up with me eating a Pop-Tart.
Look at Butter.
Oh.
He says, ooh, Dad has a Pop-Tart.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tease him with that. Hi, Butterball. Mama loves you.
Y'all are getting all the dogs today.
Mama loves you. Oh, I miss them so much. Like, I already miss you. I'm my baby. Oh, I miss these dogs so much when I leave. Like, we literally talk about it every single day. We, like, lay in bed and we're like, I miss my dogs. Alright, so obviously we took a little bit of, like, a break and we're in a different position. Darren needed some video fuel, and so he got a Pop-Tart, of all things. The other day, I, like, super randomly got a craving for Pop-Tarts because I saw some bricks on Scooby-Doo that looked like Pop-Tarts. What? What?
For real?
Yeah, it was like one of the conveyor belts that they were like in one of the or the factories where the monsters always go or whatever. And whatever the conveyor belt was spitting out was like tiny square shape, like the shape of a Pop-Tart. And it was in the candy factory one. And I mean, so obviously it was like some kind of chocolate or something. But it looked like Pop-Tarts. And yeah, and so.
You got a wild craving. Yeah,
it was last Thursday because me and Gran were watching it together when she was over. Like, literally, I was like, oh my gosh, Pop-Tarts, that sounds so good. And so the next time Darren went to the store, like a week later, I was like, pick up a variety pack of Pop-Tarts. You know how many I've had? 3/4 of one. Darren's been eating them mostly. But
I like them too.
I'm not saying that you don't. All right, so now that all that is out of the way, you know, we were just talking about how much God does for us and how much He loves us and takes care of us. Don't make your dog sit with you.
She won't come near me, so I had to grab her.
Ugh. It just... No, thank you, Butter. What are you doing? Butter! Butter, get down. Come here.
What on earth?
I don't know.
Like
lay down.
He was planning on perching up on the...
I know.
My dog
Butter,
does that.
Lay down. Come here. Lay down. All the way. Good boy. Alright. So, you keep on getting further and further out of frame.
I can just imagine the Benny Hill theme song playing.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Alright, so...
I love her.
So we were talking about all the good things that God does for us, and just, you know, His blessings that He pours out on us. And one of these things literally happened last night. So, because of the way our appointments were scheduled this time around, there's like a 6-day gap between our first appointment and our second appointment. And we usually try to make our Houston trips as short as possible. And so... that's our dog, like, backwards sneezing. Sorry. She's fine. She's old, and so, like, she has allergy problems.
Yeah, she's only like 5 years old or something.
Oh my gosh.
There's a story about that. But later, though. Later.
Alright, I'm just gonna have to start over. This has become too distracting. Okay. Would you stop? This would be a short story if we could just, like, get it out instead of all the interruptions.
Get it out. Okay, are we ready?
I've been ready. So we were talking about God's blessings and just everything that He does for us and how much He cares for us. And one of those, like, really big blessings to us literally happened last night. And so I wanted to make sure to tell y'all. Because of how our appointments were scheduled this time around, we have like 6 days in between our first appointment and our second appointment. And usually that doesn't happen because they know we're coming from out of state. They try to book us within like 3 days, everything. And so when they booked us like so far apart at my last appointments, it auto schedules everything. And so basically they don't even go in. The computer just like puts you in the next spot available. And so usually what we'll do is the week after we get back from Houston and we get settled and rearrange and look at our schedules and everything, I reschedule with them and I move things around. Well, I've been trying to do that this entire like 3-week period that we have been back, and they haven't had any available room for us to reschedule anything. It's really difficult for scheduling on Labor Day, or not specifically Labor Day, but any holidays, period. Because like the Friday before and the Monday after any kind of holiday is just ridiculous. Because a lot of people are going on vacation or leaving on that Friday or Monday, and so there's virtually no patients. And so that means that they have 2 days worth of patients to fit into 4 days worth of work. And yeah, when they already have a full schedule on those 4 days anyways. So it gets really, really chaotic. Very, very hard to schedule things. And long story short, we could not get anything rescheduled. And so we have 6 days in between our appointments. And I had been trying to reschedule up until like 2 days ago. And that's when I finally realized, all right, it's not going to happen. And so we were trying to book our hotel, but we couldn't book our hotel because we didn't know
when we were going to be there.
Yeah, when we were going to be there, because we didn't know if appointments were going to be rescheduled. So this is one of the few times that we've had to book a hotel like super last minute. And I went on to the website that we usually book our hotel through, our regular hotel, and they had no availability whatsoever.
Once again, Labor Day weekend.
Yep. None. And I was really, really upset because it's just turned into our home away from home.
Everybody knows us there.
Yeah, the staff knows us. They understand our situation, and so they're really flexible with us. They go above and beyond for service. And we are able to get one of the handicap rooms, and so it helps with me being able to shower easier and maneuvering the wheelchair. And like I said before, like we bring stuff with us to cook in the room, and so it has a slightly bigger fridge and more tabletop, and just makes it to where it's overall a lot easier on us. The lobby is really big and spaced out, and so we can still socially distance from anybody who might happen to be in the lobby, but we can sit down there and work together and get a different change of scenery. It has a place for Darren to work out. It is just amazing. Not to mention that it is outside of Houston, and so it's less expensive than staying right in Houston. And we're used to traveling to Jackson for our local appointments, and if we have to go to the ER or anything like that. So we're used to traveling an hour away, and this hotel is only like 45 minutes away from the hospital, and so it's nothing to us. We're able to get a better deal, a nicer hotel, for the same price that we would pay for a really, really sketchy, dangerous hotel in the middle of Houston. And it is truly a blessing. And so when I found out that it was fully booked, I was extremely upset. And so that sent me down a spree on booking.com to figure out like where I was going to book, reading a million different reviews. None of the reviews of the places that were available made me feel very comfortable, or I would look at some of the pictures and stuff of like where it was located, and I was like, don't know if we should do that. Or it wouldn't be handicap accessible, like all of these things. And it finally got to the point where last night we're like, all right, we've got to book something. And so I was going to bite the bullet and just take a risk, which we hate doing because we have learned the hard way that what the hotel looks like online doesn't necessarily show what it looks like in person, especially in metro cities like Houston. So I was really nervous to book anything. Darren had mentioned to me that sometimes hotels actually have availability because somebody has canceled at the last minute if you call them, because the websites don't update as quickly. And so my plan was to call this hotel, to call our main hotel and see if anything had opened up. I went to Google the hotel's number, and in Google popped up the last dates I had searched for like the week and a half that we needed to book the hotel for, and it said there was availability on bookings.com.
Wait, what?
Yeah, and so I stopped and I was like, what? And I literally thought it had to be a mistake because I knew there was nothing available. And so I refreshed the page like 3 or 4 times, like, all right, something's just messed up with Google. And then I realized, like, oh my gosh, it says something's available. So I went to go check it out to see if it's actually available for all the dates, double checked on all of the dates, the location, everything, like a million times to make sure that this was legit. This entire time, I am like bawling. I am crying to God because I'm like, this is a miracle. Like, this is going to help us so much. I'm crying again thinking about it. I know it seems stupid, but it was this big deal. And so I go through and I double check all the details because at this point I'm thinking this can't actually be the hotel that we always stay at for a cheaper price because it's last minute. Yeah, and so I'm sitting here crying, looking through all the details, and then I realize the handicap accessible room, king size bed that we always get, was the last room they had available. And it was the one available. And it was available the entire time. I'm crying again. The entire time that we needed to stay for. And it just so happened to come available within like the last 12 hours. And it had even given me a notification saying that like somebody was like looking at this hotel within the last like 10 minutes and was like, I was in competition to try to book it. And oh my gosh, like, oh, I can't believe I'm crying about this again. It's just proof that God takes care of even the little things. And, you know, that He cares. He cares so deeply about us that He even cares about the hotel preference. But knowing that we're going to be able to go to that hotel and stay just makes it so much easier on us because we know what we're walking into. We know that it's a safe environment. We know the area. We know how to get to the hospital really easy. The staff knows us, and so they're really supportive, and they help us with whatever we need. And, like, literally, I had looked that morning, and nothing was available. And so I was literally crying on the couch, praising God. And Darren had already gone to bed. And so I literally, like, ran into the bedroom. And thankfully he was already, like, kind of groggy and up. So I didn't wake him up officially.
I was on my phone. I couldn't sleep. I'm just wired. So I was just scrolling, like, just...
But I literally crawled into bed and I was, like, crying. And I could not talk. And he's like, oh my gosh, what is going on? I'm like, God is so good.
So we just laid in bed in the middle of, or not middle of the night, but like 1 a.m, just praising God.
Me bawling my eyes out.
I mean, how cool is that,
Yeah, I still am so excited about it. I don't ever want to take those little things for granted. It's hard for us to see those little things that He does for us on a day-to-day basis just because we're so overwhelmed with the mundane. It's hard for us to see and appreciate the little things that He does, like making sure we get to work safely and giving us, good weather and, the support of our family. And, it's just, there's so many things that He does for us. And it was just one more example. And so I think if this season has taught us anything is that no matter how bad it looks, there is...
Your Father is good.
Yeah, God is still good. We literally sat there singing that song in the middle of the night. You're a good, good Father, and
which is, by the way, let's just talk about this for just a moment. Like how weird we've become.
What do you mean?
Like,
I mean, we've always been weird guys.
I mean, like, here we are. Like, all of a sudden, like, praising through song has become a thing we do. Just singing, like. I'm a terrible singer. She sounds gorgeous, but I could melt...
I don't sing for people.
I could melt paint off the walls with the way I sing.
And he does walk around here singing a lot.
And there's just something awesome about it. Like, if you've never done it, just give up that anxiety, give up that pressure, give up the awkwardness and the embarrassment, and just... do it.
Isn't it
just
weird that we can
sing.
be embarrassed even if we're by ourselves?
Yeah.
Like, I've been that way before, like...
Or embarrassed for someone else.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt that before?
Yeah.
That's terrible. But yeah, like, we have become singy.
Singy.
And it's... I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Like, I might not ever do it in front of someone else, but...
Just walk around the home and everything, just singing praises to God.
Yeah. Or if something crazy good happens, sing. You can thank God, or you could sing, and I think that's
sing and thank God.
Sing and thank God. I just it's
make a joyful noise.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
all right.
I think it's time for us to hit the road.
Yeah. Now that it's 5:30, it's probably best that we get on our 7-hour road trip. Darren's getting me a lot of coffee for this trip. Yeah, we are going to hit the road. It's around 5:30. And it's about a 7-hour trip. We're going to pick up my Alfredo pizza on the way because I've been able to eat that pretty easily. And I think just kind of make it all the way through other than gas and, like, me needing to stop and walk because I need to, like, be moving around and stuff. I think we'll just try to make it all the way.
Yeah.
All right. I was going to say... Oh.
Can I do my sign out?
Oh. You got the YouTuber one. Can we just leave it at that?
No, we got to do the sign out. Myers out.